Welcome. If you're here, thank you for staying. In the intro, I shared that this podcast began the moment when everything changed. Today, I want to talk about the moment before that, the quiet one. The one that didn't look dramatic from the outside, but changed everything inside me. Because waking up doesn't always come with a crash. Sometimes it comes with stillness. For a long time, I thought I was handling it. I was functioning. I was getting through the day. I was doing what mothers do, holding it together, holding everyone else, carrying the weight quietly. But getting through the day wasn't really living. It looked like waking up every morning feeling drained, making coffee on autopilot, getting dressed while silently bargaining with myself. Just get through the shift. Just make it to the end. I would sit in my Jeep before work and breathe through the dread. Some days I prayed, not for answers, just for enough strength to walk through those doors and pray I could make it through my shift. I was working in an environment that felt heavy and toxic. And every morning before I even left the house, my body already knew what the day would cost me. I'll go to work, push through, hold myself together. That job didn't just add stress. It pressed down on my system that was already breaking. It blurred my intuition. It dimmed my light. It kept me in survival mode when my soul was asking for something else. And somewhere along the way, I stopped caring about how I showed up. I even caught myself stop wearing makeup to the office, not as a choice, but because I didn't have the energy to pretend anymore. The environment I worked in drained me in ways I didn't yet have the language for. I held myself small. I swallowed my words. I absorbed stress that wasn't mine to carry. By the time I came home, I was empty. I would change clothes, crawl back into bed, and numb out with whatever I could find. Streaming shows on TV, play my favorite records. I even broke out the Switch and played one of the games my son bought me for Mother's Day one year. Everything that would quiet my mind long enough to sleep and to keep the recordings out of my head playing on repeat. And when I wake up, I'll do it all over again. Day after day, month after month, for 2 years. Oh my gosh, how did I let this go on for 2 years? I told myself this was not normal, but I didn't know yet how to break this cycle I was in. That endurance was strength, but my body knew the truth long before I did. That job didn't just add stress, it pressed down on my system that was already breaking. When I lost that job, the fear was real, the uncertainty was real, but so was the relief. Losing that job didn't feel like failure. It felt like removal. Life has stepped in and saying, you can't handle in a place that keeps you sick. That moment didn't feel like an awakening at the time, but it was. Because sometimes the first act of rising is being forced to stop. I lived in a constant state of alert, even in moments that were supposed to feel safe. And I kept telling myself, just get through this. Just survive this season. Just don't fall apart. What no one tells you is that survival mode can look very responsible, very composed, very capable. And that's why it can last so long. I wasn't crying all the time. I wasn't breaking down every day. I was showing up, but I was also disappearing. The heaviness wasn't just emotional. It lived in my body, in the way I held my breath, in the way my shoulders never fully relaxed, in the way I stopped trusting my own instincts because I had been taught to doubt myself. I was carrying fear, pressure, heartbreak, and doing all of this silently. Because somewhere along the way, I learned that being quiet felt safer than being seen. And then something shifted. Not all at once. Not in a movie moment way. It was more like a whisper that wouldn't go away. A sense that said, you cannot live like this anymore. I started having dreams. Very, very strong ones. Very, very clear messages. The kind that stays with you long after you wake up. I began noticing patterns, messages. I felt that I was being asked gently but firmly to listen. Listen to myself. The moment I truly woke up wasn't when something outside of me changed. It was when I chose myself again. When I stopped waiting to be rescued. When I stopped hoping someone would finally understand. When I said no more. Not in anger, but in clarity. Filing for myself wasn't about the paperwork. It was about reclaiming my voice, my intuition, my boundaries. It was the moment I stepped out of survival mode and into self-trust. Nothing immediately became easier. The circumstances didn't suddenly soften, but something inside of me settled. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't abandoning myself, and that changed everything. This podcast isn't about reliving what hurt me. It's about honoring what healed me. It's about motherhood under pressure. Listening to your intuition after years of silencing it. Rebuilding my identity after loss. Learning to stand in truth, even when it's uncomfortable. It's about rising slowly, softly, fiercely. If you're listening and you feel like this, you're still in the fog, or maybe you're just beginning to sense that quiet inner nudge, I want you to know this. You are not broken. You are waking up, and you don't have to rush. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for choosing yourself in whatever small ways you can today. This is the Phoenix Mother Rises, and this is only the beginning.